Hey, Matt Lairden with the Market Mindset Podcast. Thanks for watching, listening, wherever you are. One of the exciting things, and I've done countless podcast interviews, etc. The truly successful agents they're organic, they're authentic. They don't change their personalities or try and adapt to the prospect or client that they're working with. And Bob Thompson's no different. He's with Legacy Group International. He's out of Chesapeake, Virginia. He's branded himself very uniquely on a TikTok platform, which you'll see and listen to during the podcast. So we hope you enjoy.
You know, part of this business that we're in and part of hosting a podcast is that I get to talk to real estate professionals from all over the United States with different niches, different backgrounds, different histories, and today's no difference. Today we've got Bob Thompson. He's out of Chesapeake, Virginia. He's with the Legacy Group International. He's also host of What Bob Thinks. And what's the other one there, Bob? Bob the Agent?
BobTheAgent.com. That's the real estate website. Yes.
Thank you so much. Hey, appreciate you carving out some time for us. Before we get started, what's going on in Virginia weather-wise? I don't know where you are exactly in Chesapeake. How was the weather this last weekend?
Essentially, I'm in Chesapeake, which is between Norfolk and Virginia Beach. So, Hampton Roads, Virginia, big military community. Weather is fine here, probably 72 degrees. We had some wind and some rain over the weekend, but nothing of any major substance. So we're rolling along.
Good for you. Glad to hear that. Well, Bob, we reached out through social media. We talked a little bit. Tell me how you got started, your background. Obviously, you had some health challenges. So inspiring. You and I shared those, and I want to hear more about that, but about your business, what you do, why you're the anti-agent. Let's talk about business and marketing and real estate.
Awesome. I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
My biggest thing is I was a chemist for 9 years before I got into real estate full time. And somewhere in 2004, 2005, I'm sitting in a freshman chemistry class because I wanted to get my environmental protection degree. I'm probably 32. I'm surrounded by 20-year-olds. I've got my own lab coat with my name on it, all of my own little gadgets and toys and all of that. And after about 2 days, I realized that I was done. I was miserable. 15 bosses, capped out at 45 grand a year. And I was like, something has got to give. So I started looking into real estate. I bought some rental properties and found out that I was a much better at buying them than I was being a landlord. I was a terrible landlord. I was way too nice. I tried to do it myself.
Yeah.
And I discovered I love the hunt, the process, the negotiation. And it kind of snowballed from there. My ex-wife and I put a game plan together. What was supposed to be 3 years, we got done in 2. And I walked out of that plant in April of 2007 in the middle of a recession and never looked back and doubled my income that first year in 2008 and kept on rolling.
What a time to enter the real estate business. Well, you having that analytical chemistry background, I mean, numbers are numbers, but man, 2007, 2008, 2009, I think the height I remember was 2007.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I'm in Long Beach, California. We had a friend of ours, friend of the family. They got 125% loan to value financing, meaning they got paid, I want to say about 50 grand to close on a piece of real estate that was way overvalued. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, something's going on here. But I mean, to enter the business 2007, 2008, probably a good time. Get your feet wet. And if you can survive that market period, we can survive pretty much anything. So 2007, you got your license, doubled your income. What happened? Where'd you go from there?
Well, I was on a power team for 3 years. I was top listing and sales agent 2 of those 3 years. 2009, I took a break when my mother passed away and had to deal with her in estate and all of that. What ended up happening at the end of 2010 is my broker, who was also the team leader, basically wasn't paying what I deserved to be paid. I'd been doing short sales for 2 or 3 years. I was getting no help. I would constantly have 45, 50 short sales listed at a single time, doing all of the paperwork, everything by myself, not getting the proper income. And I finally put my foot down and he wouldn't budge. I couldn't even get him to get me somebody to do lock boxes and signs. Nothing. I was basically a one-man show, and him getting 3/4 of the damn money at that point, it seemed like.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I basically put my foot down and I realized I could go solo, make more money, working less hours, quite honestly. And that's what I did from there. I slowly worked my way from short sales into foreclosures. 2017, I had my biggest year. I did 70 deals as a solo agent by myself, no admin, no nothing. Which is how, karma and the good Lord have a way of working these things out, because your ego gets a little inflated. Bought a brand new car, 2018, new RV, living good, living high off the hog. Heart attack number 1, 2018. Heart attack number 2, 2018, the day after my birthday in October. And then at that point, they said, we're done. Quadruple bypass. I finished out 2018 completely stone cold broke. They took my bank account, they took my credit card, and they repoed my vehicle. I was able to get my car, back again, and I had to get a buddy of mine to pay my rent. I was broke.
Yeah, it's a common. I mean, I hate to say it, I hear these stories a lot, and I tell people, I said, getting there is half the battle, but being in a position and a mindset to receive success and being grounded is just as tough of a battle. Sometimes we work really hard, we get there, and sometimes we're not ready for that success, and knock knock, someone on our shoulder, good Lord above, says, hey, you know what, let's reevaluate some things here, get our priorities straight. So you had this huge success. Circling back, how'd you get 70 closings? What were you doing at the time?
I've lived in this area my entire life, so it was just a combination of I'm very big on referral and sphere of influence business. I always try to do. My attitude has always been, tell me I did a good job and pay me. That's all I care about. I don't need your 50 million Google reviews. I don't need this and that. Tell me I did a good job and pay me. So between that and the foreclosure market, I just did what I was supposed to do, and it magically it went from 35 and then to 45 and then to 55 and then boom, 70. Especially with short sales, you can do both sides of them, so you can pick up some extra sides that way too. So it was just a combination of doing what you're supposed to be doing. At the end of the day, telling people the truth. There's no magical sales, there is no magic marketing to selling a house. It doesn't exist. At the end of the day, it's price and location. And if you tell anybody elsewise, you're lying to them. You just are. And I don't do that.
Right. Just being upfront, straight up front. So really, if I'm hearing you correctly, you had success, and then coming up on 6 years ago, you had a little reality check. I mean, your second heart bypass surgery, quadruple bypass. I'll say it again, quadruple bypass surgery, 2018.
Yeah, they did I had the first heart attack and they put stents in. And then when I had the second one, the first one was first part of June. When I had the second one was the day after my birthday in October. At that point, they were like, the stents aren't working. We're going to go in. They were going to do a double bypass, and it turned into a quadruple bypass.
And we're coming up on really this. I mean, it's not an anniversary to be celebrated, but it sounds like it changed your life. We start October tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I'll be 52, and I was 46 when I had the first heart attack. So yeah.
Wow. Well, what a comeback! So, what's your market looking right now? What's your focus of your business, and what's the market looking like right now in your hometown of Chesapeake?
Market right now is like a lot of places. It's low inventory. Foreclosures have not come back yet because of COVID. Everybody that was on the foreclosure list essentially got taken off that list because they found ways to either their housing prices went up dramatically, or we have so many bank programs now that it's not really an issue. So we have no inventory, period. Houses are still selling. They're doing what they need to do. It's like anything else. I mean, market's going to slow down a little bit as we get closer to the holidays. Obviously, we've got an election, but rates are dropping. And I think everybody understands that whether anybody likes it or not, the housing industry moves and keeps the economy going because there's so many people, myself included, that feed off that industry, whether it's the simple handyman that comes over and pressure washes your house on a weekend to the real estate agent like myself, to the appraiser, to the home inspector, to all of us are reliant on that industry. We just are. And I think we just need to be honest about that.
I couldn't say it better myself. And it's just the last 4 years, we've had this whipsaw, at least in my market in Long Beach. You know, we go from low interest rates and lack of inventory, then high interest rates and now lack of inventory, because those 3% mortgages, if a first-time family, a first-time home buyer bought a home 4 or 5 years ago, whatever, at the low interest rates, and then they wanted to sell and buy and upgrade, I mean, the mortgage is going to go up 75% just from interest rates. So now we see interest rates coming down again. And still, what's the big challenge? Lack of inventory. Still a lot of money chasing after, fewer deals. At least that's how it is in Long Beach, California. Where does the majority of your business come from? Are you buy-side representation, listing representation? What do you do?
I am probably 75% listing side, which that typically coincides with that person selling and then buying something else. So it ends up being, the piggyback.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's listings, and it's almost all of my business is sphere of influence. And quite honestly, there is some for sale by owner, because I am not afraid to cold call somebody. I'll literally jump on Zillow for sale by owner.com and then look at a listing and go, hey, your house is overpriced, I bet, or your house is underpriced because you're pricing it downward to cover the commission. Why don't we include the commissions in here, sell it properly? You can still make more money. And I'm not afraid to tell somebody that, or quite honestly, walk in the house and tell them the truth. And if I get thrown out of the house, okay, it wouldn't be the first time. I think my record, I broke it earlier this year. I think I was in that house for all of like 3 minutes. Like the lady told me the house was worth more, like $100,000 more than what I told her. And then she turned around and asked me to leave. And I literally posted on Facebook like 10 minutes later, sitting in my car. I'm like, hey, I broke my record. I got thrown out of the house in 3 minutes. I'm okay with that. It doesn't make a difference. It is what it is.
Truth hurts. And I love your transparency. I love how you come out. You're honest with people. I mean, we all think our property's worth, me included, sometimes worth more than it is. But we need that honest answer. I'll do a quick example. My dad was selling his house in San Clemente, moving to Denver. And the real estate agent, who was a friend of the family, came in and said, we thought we had the house dialed in, decluttered. He says, you're about 20% of the way there. And I'm like, wow, we thought the place looked great. Came in a week and a half later. You're 40% of the way there. And we just kept eliminating. And sure enough, we were, our house we thought looked great, but in fact, it was just packed with stuff. And, under his advice and his honesty, which we really appreciated, we got it on market and sold rather quickly. And I'm in the real estate business, and I still won't take family listings. It's just, I'd rather advise and be on the outside. But I love the honesty and transparency. That's one common theme, I should say, amongst all the real estate professionals that we talk to, is transparency, upfront, honest. We're going to tell you how it is, not tell you what you want to hear necessarily. And if we offend some people, sorry, but, stick to your guns, stick to your business model. It's obviously working. So we're going to obviously let's talk about the DOJ versus NAR. And I don't know if you followed that or been a part of that. The commission on the MLS, so we're allowed to post it. What have you done? Has that been a challenge in your business at all there in Chesapeake?
Not really. And only because, let's be honest, all you're doing is move the decimal point to the other side of the equation. At the end of the day, the biggest conversation that myself and some of my people have had is, what it comes down to from a real estate perspective is, do we automatically say to the agent, hey, bring me the offer, we're paying 3%, or we're paying 2.5 or whatever? Or do we tell them, write the offer up and we'll negotiate it? The problem, and this is where it gets interesting, is a strong agent that knows what he's doing is comfortable negotiating that offer and putting it in there. A weak agent is going to ask ahead of time what we're considering paying. I don't want to scare off a weak agent with a good offer. So therein lies the rub. Do we just say, look, this is what because let's be honest, at the end of the day, my job is to save my clients as much money as possible and get them the highest net they can get. But at the same time, I don't want to scare off a new agent from bringing me an offer that may be the better offer, even because they're scared to negotiate because they don't know how to negotiate, or they haven't been taught to negotiate because this is all new to them. And they were used to going on the MLS and it said 2.5 or it said 3, and they just knew they were going to get paid, didn't have to have the conversation. So there's a lot of agents that don't know how to negotiate for themselves, much less for their client, quite honestly. So that's the biggest challenge, is which way do we want to go about it? And that depends on price point of the house. And it also depends on where is the house located. If I'm in a super hot neighborhood and things are flying off the shelf, then I'm not going to be as quick to go ahead and give that information away, because I want you to bring me, because I'm going to be dealing with multiple offers. And you're right, I may shove you down a little bit on commission if I think I can, or if you're asking for too much, I'm going to come back the other direction. Or if I'm in a situation where I've got a house that we absolutely have to sell that's not in the hottest of areas, I'm going to probably be more willing to go, don't you worry about it. We're going to take care of you, because it's in my client's best interest we don't want to go, oh God, please buy our house. But at the same time, we don't want to, hold that door shut and be like, bring us an offer and then keep our mouth shut. So that's been the only issue as far as actual clients. Most of my clients don't care, number one. And number two, they know I'm going to tell them the truth. So they're not even worried about it. This is what it is. This is the way it always has been. There's really no difference other than where the decimal point goes. The whole thing was overblown and ridiculous to start with.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes the newer agents, they're a little bit insecure, and they're afraid to address the elephant in the room. And I love what you've said. We just address it up front. We talk about it. But it sounds to me like you also take it sort of on a case-by-case basis. High demand property, multiple offers. You don't have to incentivize the buy side agent as much. But if you have a challenging property in a less popular neighborhood, I guess you have that arrow in your quiver to get more interest out there. So I love how you address it up front. As far as Virginia, Chesapeake, where are most of your buyers, people that are coming into the market, where are they coming from?
Well, again, we're very, very heavily military population. So we've got buyers coming in from everywhere. I mean, literally across the board. It's a lot of military transfers. So there is no set area. It's not like Miami where you've got, let's say, folks from up north coming into Miami. With us, it's okay. They were stationed in Seattle, Washington for 4 years. Now they're coming to Virginia. You get some folks that come from New York retiring down our way. But for the most part, it's going to be military coming and going.
Okay. So how are you finding, where's sphere of influence, you said right away. What other marketing are you doing out there to reach these buyers and sellers?
Most of my marketing is social. It's going to be Facebook, TikTok, stuff like that. But again, at 99 out of 100 times, quite honestly, it is sphere of influence. I'll get a random phone call. It's, hey, Bob, my cousin's brother, so-and-so. Since I feel like I do a good job and my people like me, they have a habit of being my biggest cheerleader. And at the same time, if it is let's say it is a random buyer that calls me on another property and I meet with them, the first thing I'll do is, okay, you don't know me from Adam. So if you want to know me, here's my cell phone. Pick any phone number in there. They're probably a past client. Call them, ask them if I did a good job or not. Simple as that. And
wow.
Go with that. And then 9 out of 10 times, that solves that problem immediately. Or it could be as simple as, okay, well, I pull them up on Facebook and come to find out we may have mutual friends. And it'll be, hey, yeah, I know Joe. I went to high school with him, or we did this at this one point. So you've got that built-in trust factor. But I find over the top rampant transparency is the best way to get something done than coming in like, hey, how you doing? I look forward to helping you buy a house. Welcome to Chesapeake. I've been in the industry a long time and I'm the number one guy, like an AM radio DJ. I would rather, and I'll tell them the truth. And even my clients will tell their referrals, look, Bob's a little rough around the edges, but he knows what he's doing. He's not going to hold your hand, but he's going to walk in the house and he's going to go, okay, well, this is wrong, and this is wrong. And this is what we can do to fix it. Or, okay, this house is crap, we're leaving. Let's go to the next one. Because a lot of buyers will get taken by the pretty paint, nice cabinetry, stuff like that, and not ever notice that the walls are falling apart.
Right.
So I just come in exactly who I am, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay for that. We're not going to get them all, and there's plenty of business for everybody.
Right. I know we can't be all things to all people. And we get this some of us in the real estate business get this, I call it multiple personality disorder, trying to fit into everyone's, personality profile. And the best thing we can be is transparent, honest, open, be innately who we are how we're wired. And like I guess we get older, and some of the life events we've gone through, we don't have time for the BS. I don't have time to blow smoke up someone's, whatever. Here's the numbers, here's the deal. Let me represent you. If we don't, if I don't have the answers, I'll find someone who does. But if personality-wise we don't fit, I'm gonna let you know that too. Maybe we should find you another agent. So I love the transparency. I love the fact that you're in your hometown, so probably no one knows the market better than you. I love that. Social media, you mentioned Facebook. Are you on TikTok?
Oh yeah, I do the TikTok. I do on Fridays. I do what's known as the Wu-Tang rant of the week, which is I'm an old school hip hop head, old school 80s guy, but I've got my Wu-Tang shirt on, and it kind of became this thing where I started doing a rant, and I'm a very casual person. I'm not a suit and tie guy. So a lot of times when I'm showing property, it's going to be t-shirt and jeans. It's just how I roll. So I did the initial rant in the Wu-Tang shirt, and I had a buddy of mine was like, okay, love the rant, number one. Number two, you got to continue to wear the Wu-Tang shirt. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And it's basically my minute and a half. I'm either, let's be honest, it's the agent did this and this is stupid and this is why, or it's, hey, I did something stupid and this is why. Like there's been times when I've completely blamed myself. Like I put the townhouse did not have a microwave in it, and I listed it with a microwave. So the buyers wanted the microwave, and I didn't catch it at first. And then when it showed up in the offer, I raised my hand. I told my investors what I had done and said, let me know what it's going to cost, and I'll put a microwave, and I'll pay for the microwave. And I put that on my rent just to say, hey, I'm a human being. Most houses have the built-in microwave above the oven. This one didn't. I didn't think about it when I when I put it in the listing. My fault, and I've got to be responsible for that. So I try to be that style of transparent across the board, and sometimes it's me, and sometimes it's and I also call out, what's that list that they put out a while back, like 130 things that real estate agents do?
Yeah,
man, I lit that thing. I hate that. I hate stuff like that. It drives me up the wall. We all miss time from stuff. I worked in a chemical plant for 9 years. And when I started, I worked on the plant. I've worked in 10-degree weather. I've worked in 110-degree weather. Don't tell me your job is that hard as a real estate agent. I don't want to hear it. 90% of what we do is behind a desk or we're showing property. So don't act like, well, I work weekends and I miss baseball games. Well, guess what? So does everybody else on this entire planet. And having to run and put a lockbox on a door doesn't count as a task. It's part of your job. Figure it out. And I hate stuff like that. And I ripped it a new one, and I will continue to. It's how I operate. And I get yelled at on like labcodeagents.com. Agents will post stupid stuff on there, and I'll tear them a new one. Or you get the wannabe guru that starts giving out his little fortune cookie, to work hard, you've got to hard work and do this. No kidding. Really, dude? I'm a 52-year-old grown ass man. The last thing I'm on here for is your little piece of fortune cookie wisdom. You're not providing value in any way, shape, or form. And you wonder why you get one comment on your post and it's from me calling you a moron, and then nobody else responds. No. Come with value, come with value, come with respect to the process, and come honestly, and people will follow you to the ends of the earth. But if you're not doing that, I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm probably going to call you out on it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my rant. I'm done.
No, you're good. I love it. You got to send me a signed Wu-Tang Clan shirt. Two things. One, it was 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. I follow social media. I need to be more engaged. My daughter's pushing me to do TikTok, and I'll get there. But two things. One, about 3 or 4 months ago, all these buy side agents and these even on the listing side, they were coming out and they were posting 125
That's
things
the
that
one.
we do behind the scenes. And my thought process, well, then if you don't like it, get the out of the business.
Yeah.
I mean, really, guess what? You want to work weekends? Great. If you don't, you don't. Build your practice around the life you want to live. And then the second, so that 130 thing list of everything we did, it's like you're trying to justify, your work ethic and what you do for a living. And that bugged me a little bit. And then that whole buy side fee and getting them signed paper. And I'm like, and I did a calculation, and the agents like you, I'm all about transparency. I said, as a buy side agent, first of all, how much money did you make last year? And I assume they made $150,000. And then I said, how many hours a week do you work? Well, I work 50. Do agents really work 50 hours a week? Some do, a majority don't. And so I divided it out. And I said, at your rate, at X amount of dollars, how many hours are you going to put on the buy side representation, submitting an offer, following through, executing everything? Well, 40 hours. And I said, well, according to your income, 50 hours, that is $75 an hour. So $75 an hour times, 50 hours, your buy side fee should be $11,000. Why do you feel you should have so much more income, based on the hourly rate? And and I know behind the scenes, you're paying for experience. You're not paying for the amount of hours that you're putting in. And then the other thing real quick is I love your honesty and transparency. I had a chance to work for, I got to be careful because he's very litigious. So there's two major coaching companies out there, real estate coaching companies. There's the father and then there's the son. And I worked for the father for a while. And man, I saw him kick agents out of workshops, paying people that came to go to one of his all-star retreats out. And I think there's I love transparency. I love honesty. And it sounds like you're staying true to your authentic, organic self, who you are. Take it or leave it. This is who I am. I wish more agents would try and be, real estate professionals would do what you're doing. I love that. So accommodations to you. What are you doing for, what are your sports teams there in Chesapeake? Who you follow?
Well, I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. As a child of the 70s, I think, and I'll explain it this way. Most of my area is going to be either Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers, or Washington Redskins, now Washington Commanders, because that's where we grew up.
Right.
My father was not a football guy, so I think I probably woke up in 1977 or 78 and decided that I liked Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers, and that's what I've been a diehard fan of. And I lived through the 80s and 90s, so I earned that to enjoy the rest of our championships. But most people, if you look back where they came from, it's one of three things. It's either 1970s Cowboys or Steelers, or it's whatever hometown they lived in or who their dad was a fan of. So that's the direction. There's no rhyme or reason, because I will have people like, oh, did you grow up in Pittsburgh? Like, no, I've lived here all my life, but I was born in the 70s, and those were the two power teams, and that's the direction that we went.
Oh, yeah. So, that was Mean Joe Green. Terry Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, all those guys.
Guy, famous, wide receiver. Who was the big receiver back then?
John Stallworth and Lynn Swann.
Lynn Swann. There we go.
Yeah.
There's a name.
Yeah.
Who's been really influential in your real estate career, if you had to name one or two people?
I would actually, as much as I hate to admit it sometimes, is my first broker and team leader. Made the greatest point to me, and I have followed this point ever since, and I have ran with it, and I tell everybody this point. It was 2008. I just started on this team, and I had a listing, and I couldn't get it to sell, and it was overpriced, and I'm arguing with him about the price point. And finally, he looks at me and goes, "How many houses have you sold?" And I started stuttering and fluttering because I'd sold about half a dozen. And he goes, "Why are you arguing with me?" He was like, "My name is on the door. I'm the team leader. I'm the owner. I'm the broker. And you're sitting here arguing with me about how much his house is worth." And like the light came on. And I have used that ever since. If somebody knows more than I do, then I'm going to shut my mouth and listen. Now, I may get a second opinion. I'm not like taking my car to the shop. I'm going to ask a buddy of mine, okay, well, this is what they're telling me. What's wrong with it? What do you think? That's one thing. but I'm going to listen to what I call my betters. They're my betters for a reason. If you run your business better than me, then I need to know how to do that. And that was life-changing, absolutely life-changing. The other would be, I was at a Remax convention in 2009, and the top agent of the year, I had a conversation with her, and I go, I love real estate, but I hate talking about it and telling people what I do. And she goes, do you love selling real estate? I was like, absolutely. She goes, well, if you don't tell people what you do, you won't do it anymore. And again, it was like, she's absolutely right. If I worked at Walmart, I could be a hermit, go to work, come home, and never have to talk to a single solitary soul. But I love what I do, which means every day, whether I liked it or not, I've got to be out there telling people what I do, because people will forget. That's just who we are. And those are probably the two biggest things that I have taken, that I have ran with, and I have told every single agent I've ever coached, talked to, asked me an opinion in any way, shape, or form. Without a doubt.
I love it. And it was really easy for you to come up with those two people. I mean, it's sort of a spontaneous question on my part. Very easy for you to come up or come back with two people that were a major influence. I love that.
Yeah. Hey, and it goes back to our honesty point. When we're new agents, we get taught follow the script, which is important, but you can't follow the script if it doesn't have your sound and piece to it. So I always tell new agents, take the script, but put it in your own way. You're a surfer dude in Virginia Beach. Act like a surfer dude in Virginia Beach. Don't be, hello, ma'am or sir, I would love to help you sell a house. Right. They can tell that's fake and it's not real. So be who you are. Hey, dude, I understand you got a house for sale. I would love to get in there and take a look at it. Who you are, lean into who you are, and the world will open up always.
I love that. To thy own self be true. Hey, when you're not selling real estate or coaching or speaking or being a motivational speaker or staying healthy, what are you doing for fun?
For fun, obviously, I'm in a fantasy football league like most men my age, and have been for years. I'm 3-time champion. I'm proud of that. So there's a whole lot of talking that goes on in the season, obviously. I enjoy playing poker in my off time. That's fun too. Other than that, that's really about it. Reading, trying to take better care of my health, obviously. So yep. That's really about it. I kind of just do my thing and do what I want.
Right. What's on your reading list right now as we sort of wrap this up?
My reading list right now, I am between reading lists. What I will say is I go back to two things that I reread at least twice a year. And that is David Allen's Getting Things Done, which is basically anything in your brain, write it down. And that works at 2 a.m, just as easily as it works 2 p.m. And I reread it. It reminds me of the things that I want to do, because we think about something good and then we forget about it. So I'm constantly, you'll see me on my phone. I'll text myself ideas or I'll email myself. I'm that weird guy that I've got a running text message to myself. The other thing is I read every year and it's an older book. It's actually made for teenagers. It's called Slake's Limbo. I read it when I was in 7th or 8th grade. And it's basically the story of a kid that's been downtrodden and beat down, and he escapes his abusive home, and he figures out that there are good people out there, and he figures out that he can accomplish things. And it reminds me that not everybody has been blessed as I have to, number one, come from a good home, and number two, have that boost of self-esteem, that boost of whatever it is that it gets us up and moving every day. So it just reminds me that you got to put your foot forward every single day, and you can come from anywhere and be successful.
Right. So, I got to put that. I just wrote that down for the viewers and listeners. Again, the name of that last book that you started reading in 7th grade. What's the name of that book?
It's called Slake's Limbo.
Spell that for me.
Slakes.
Okay.
Limbo. It is good. Not even on Kindle. You can order the book. It was like one of those national award-winning scholar books for my time period. And then for whatever reason, it kind of fell out of favor. I love it. Everybody I know that has younger children will say, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I always make sure they get a copy of it.
Super.
I think it's
Hey, we're wrapping it up. I see we're running out of time. How can we get a hold of you?
You can always reach me at whatbobthinks.com or bobtheagent.com on socials, and you can call me on the phone. I'm old school. I will answer the phone.
So you don't mind if I put your phone number when we wrap this up on the tail end?
I have no problems with that whatsoever. Put it in there.
Bob, thank you so much. We're running out of time. Usually doesn't go this long, but when you have someone engaging as you are, such a pleasure. Thanks for carving out some time out of your schedule today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me anytime.
Thank you, Bob.